everything you need to know about the fall in Winston-Salem. That's what we're talking about in today's video, so stick around. My name is Ramon Lomelli. I'm a local realtor and the broker owner of the Smart Move Group, a real estate company in the heart of Winston-Salem, but we got connections all over the state, so don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. And I wanted to take a little bit of time out of this open house today. That's why I'm in someone's house right now, to tell you guys about my favorite season in the Winston-Salem area. Probably every single North Carolinian's favorite season is probably going to be the fall, because it is just amazing here. So let me tell you a little bit about why I think that the fall in Winston-Salem is going to be elite. Now, obviously the weather's going to be fantastic in the entire state, but specifically in our part of the state, it's even better in my opinion. The mornings are going to have a little bit of that crisp fall breeze, a little bit of that crisp fall kind of cold that you feel. So you might need a light jacket, but man, 10:30, 11 a.m. comes around, you're taking that jacket off. It's a lovely summer day, almost feels like a spring day, spring type weather. And then that nighttime, it gets just cold enough that you want to cuddle up under a blanket, but not too cold to where you're freezing. So the weather is fantastic. Of course, one of the best things about the fall here in Winston-Salem, in my opinion, is going to be the scenery. The fall, the leaves start to turn colors, the mountains look amazing. There's crisp reds and yellows and browns and golds in the trees. The leaves are falling everywhere. That and obviously mountain drives. You got to take a drive out to the Blue Ridge Parkway or the Appalachian Mountains and look at all the trees changing colors. There are calendars online that actually tell you when that's going to occur, or like the best times to go to see fall in its best colors. Actually, I should probably link that up in this video, so check the description about that below. But yes, the colors are fantastic in North Carolina, in Winston-Salem as well in the fall. But before we get into the local favorites, fall things to do, I'm gonna ask you for one favor. Hit that like button, leave me a comment, but above all, subscribe, because those kinds of things keep me motivated to keep bumping out these videos for you. And don't forget that I'm gonna try my best to leave everything that I'm gonna talk about in today's video linked in the about section of this video, as well as my social media handles in case you want to be my friend on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and now obviously everyone needs another friend in their life. But I will say that one thing that may make me a better friend than some of your other friends on social media is that I will actually show you. The reason I want you to follow me on social media is because I'm going to actually show you what there is to do in the Winston-Salem area, things to do, food to eat. You're planning on going to the Carolina Classic Fair this coming week, so I'm going to show you guys about that, so make sure you follow me. So what are some of the local favorite things to do in the fall here in the Winston-Salem area? If you're a big beer guy, if you're a fan of beer, you just like to try new things, you're going to love this. Oktoberfest, it's a very popular time of year here in the Winston-Salem area. We have a ton of breweries and they all come out with their own signature beers. Not only the Oktoberfest style, but also you get a lot of like that pumpkin style ales and stuff like that. So it's really, really good because we have a ton of breweries here in the area. Pumpkin patches and vineyards. If you're into wine, wineries, vineyards, there are so many around this area. That's something that a lot of people actually don't realize about our area. There are so many breweries and wineries in the area that it's really hard to go wrong. Also, pumpkin patches. Pumpkin patches can be fun to take the kids, help pick out a pumpkin that you guys can take home and actually carve. So it is a family fun event, and you know, everyone likes to go out there and take some pictures with the scarecrows and the corn and stuff. So it's really fun for everyone. One of the things that I like to do personally is go over to the Renolda Gardens in Winston-Salem and look at all the beautiful foliage that they have, all the different trees and flowers and things, and watch everything kind of change colors. In the springtime, there are these beautiful blooms in that area, and of course in the fall, everything turns to those crispy browns and yellows and golds and reds of the fall. Of course, if you're into restaurants, you're gonna love this time of year for patio seating. A lot of times you go to a restaurant and the patio is full, the inside's empty, so if you get there early enough, you'll catch a patio seating. Man, having a nice meal outside with that nice breeze, it's so relaxing. Of course, we have a ton of walking trails, something simple, or you go all out and go crazy and go hiking, some really hard level hiking in the surrounding mountains around here as well. So you can just go for a leisurely stroll down at Salem Lake, around the lake, or you can go up to the mountains and do some intense hiking and get some beautiful scenery. In the Winston-Salem area, a fan favorite or local favorite thing to do is grab a cup of coffee and walk around Old Salem. Old Salem is this beautiful Moravian settlement that's like historically accurate. A lot of the buildings that were originally there are still standing. So that, with a backdrop of all of the huge mature landscaping trees, the leaves falling, the leaves changing color, it is fantastic. And it's a really, really popular photography spot. If you want to go out there and just pull out your cell phone, take some selfies, it is gorgeous. A lot of the people that come to visit Winston-Salem end up going to Old Salem, no matter what time of the year, but especially in the fall. The Grant at Quarry Park has some amazing views as well, because the quarry is there, but but surrounding the quarry, of course, it's full of beautiful trees. So you can actually take a trail around the quarry and walk through the trees, or you can go up to the overlook and just look at everything that there is to see. And of course, like I mentioned before, Salem Lake. Salem Lake is a popular hiking trail, fishing, boating. They have events there, all kinds of fun stuff at Salem Lake. However, if you end up going during the fall, you're going to be met with some of the most beautiful colors, some of the most beautiful scenery, underrated scenery in my opinion, that you've ever seen. Now I want to talk to you guys about another reason why I love the fall, and that's going to be all the events and festivals that come around during this season. To start off the list, Fiesta, which is the Hispanic League's festival for Hispanic Heritage Month, happens in late September usually. You have the Apple Festival, which honestly, when I first heard of the Apple Festival, I'm like, what's celebrating apples? What are they doing there? What happens is the apples were very significant to the Moravian culture and the Moravian people that settled Winston-Salem originally. And basically, they believe that each family should plant an apple tree, and apples surprisingly can be dehydrated. They can be turned into butter and cider, and they can cook with it. And it's just a very, very flexible fruit that you can do a lot of things with, and it holds really well over the winter. So it's one of those things where they grew it all year long, and then they harvested it and made different things with it. So the apple in Moravian communities is very, very, a very strong symbol for them. And so you have this event every year in one of the, I think it's at the Bethabara Park, one of the Moravian settlements. And what they do is they just kind of have all kinds of apple slushies, apple butter, apple juice, of course. Anything you can think of that can be made with an apple, you'll find it there. And it's kind of a celebration of the Moravian heritage. One of my favorites, the Carolina Classic Fair. We have not missed a year since I was like 16 years old, my entire by myself life. And then once I got married, and the kids haven't missed a year. So we love the Carolina Classic Fair. That's a great time. You always run into someone you don't want to run into at the fair because everybody goes, but it is a lot of fun. And to eat some like alligator mac and cheese and ride a maybe unsafe ride and get sick. That was a joke, I think. Towards the end of October, you have the Lexington Barbecue Festival. Now, this festival seems to be getting bigger and bigger every year. The last couple of times I went, I had to Uber to like the outskirts of downtown and then walk in because there was no parking and there was people everywhere. But essentially, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a massive barbecue festival where people compete in different styles of barbecue. Most of it's going to be the Lexington, obviously, style barbecue, right? But you do have some variations on that. And you have several music performances. I mean, it's so big that you have several stages all over the place, and it's massive. And you run into all kinds of people. There's activities for everyone. There's prizes and things for the kids to do, and you can go and try a little bit of every kind of barbecue and find out which one you love the best. And don't get me wrong, there are so many more types of events when it comes to this area in the fall. Those were the ones that I've been to and kind of stand out in my head, but there are so many others. I mean, this list would be forever long. So if you have more questions about anything, feel free to reach out. I can even send you a list of the entire activities of what there is to do in the fall in this area. By the way, if you're getting any kind of value out of today's video, do not hesitate to reach out to me, give me a call, shoot me a text. Number on the screen, that's gonna be my personal cell phone number, goes to no one else but me. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and check out the links in the about section. Now, I wanted to end this video by letting you guys know a little bit about what's been going on in the housing market. Now, traditionally, and this is kind of weird right now, this year's been really, really funky when it comes to real estate sales, but traditionally, you got your spring and summer market, and that's the hot market for the the year, and then you got fall, it starts to slow down, which is where we're at now, and then the end of the year, the winter time is when it kind of shuts down, not completely, but it kind of does slow down quite a bit. Now this year, if you remember correctly, the interest rates, 2025, the interest rates were astronomical. We had really, really high interest rates, and homes have been going up in price ever since the pandemic from 2020 and onward. And so it kind of created this market where not only our interest rates are super high, but also home prices are super high. So that's been something that's been challenging. It kind of held everyone back. Now, what I noticed this year was that towards the end of August, early September, interest rates started to trend down a little bit, not a ton, not a whole percentage point, but they went from like 6.875 to like 6.5-ish, depending on credit score and loan type and all that stuff. But when that happened, it seemed like things really started picking up, kind of like the beginning of spring would be. And then where I'm sitting at today, the last time I checked, interest rates was this past Friday, they were 6.1, 6.18, something like that. And I mean, that really caused my phone to blow up. And not only are buyers looking to get into the market now that they can afford things a little bit more, but also sellers are now thinking like now is the time to sell, because if I can get a low 6 or even a high 5% interest rate, then I can afford to sell my house and take advantage of all that equity that I have and be able to buy something else. So that's kind of the main thing that I've been seeing, but I've also been seeing some other interesting things. I've seen one phenomenon where homes that didn't sell during the summertime are now back on the market in the fall, which tells me they have a lot of interest in selling, right? So that may be a really, really good negotiation spot. So don't be fooled if you see the home has one day on the market, but if you look up the history of it, it's been listed 3 times already for 90 days each, and now they're putting it back on the market to try to make it look new again. The other thing that's gonna be hard this year is that the fall, usually people are gearing up for the holiday season. You know, you got Thanksgiving coming up, Halloween kind of kicks it off, then it's all about Thanksgiving, then it's all about Christmas, New Year's, and then there's a big slowdown. January, February is dead. And then by the time people start getting those refund checks is usually March, April, when you start seeing the real estate market start to pick up. And this year it's gonna be tricky because there's not gonna, even though there's interest rates are kind of low right now, historically, you know, if you compare it to what we had before the pandemic, not low, but historically low interest rates, you know, you can't take advantage of that if there's no inventory on the market. So, you know, keep that in the back of your head and be aware of that as you're out there looking at homes. And you know that I'm always going to be on the lookout to anything that's going to give my buyers and my sellers more bargaining power, more leverage, right? So if you have any more questions about the Winston-Salem area, about the fall, about the real estate market, do not hesitate to reach out. This is literally why I make these videos, just for you guys. Don't worry about the competitors' videos popping up, ignore those. Go back to my channel and then binge that, and you'll be the best informed buyer in Winston-Salem. Obviously that was a joke, but thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you guys in next week's video.